but it's also old money. It's people
Mm.
who made money hundreds of years ago, and it's still in the family today.
Mm-hmm.
And little things make big differences. The
Mm-hmm.
organization of society is.
Mm.
I don't think that everybody understands how society is organized. I don't think that people
Yes.
understand.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I was reading about the history of this place,
Mm-hmm.
and the term or the word, so
Mm-hmm.
the street is called Brandenburg.
Mm-hmm.
Brandenburg. Now, Berg is a common European term.
Mm-hmm.
Berg, or very similar, is borough, as in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh.
Lot of places in Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
Edinburgh, Fraserburgh,
Mm-hmm.
and borough is Berg, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same word. That's
Mm-hmm.
why people say Edinburgh, because they get it
But
wrong.
mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
borough and Berg is the same, like Hamburg
Hamburg.
in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's the same word. Now, because I like language, I like to understand words, I was
Mm-hmm.
reading about the history, and I was looking at the etymology of Berg and borough.
Mm-hmm.
And Berg and borough is another word for company.
Company. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Company. It's a
Mm-hmm.
synonym for company.
Company. Mm-hmm. Edinburgh.
Now, when you understand
Mm-hmm.
that Edinburgh is the company of Eden,
Mm-hmm.
you see?
Eden. Mm-hmm.
With Eden.
Eden. Ah,
Okay.
yes, 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 Eden. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
it's word games, right?
Yes.
Edinburgh, or borough is company,
Company.
so it means the company
Eden
of
Company.
Eden. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Eden Company. Mm-hmm.
It's not a city.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's not a city.
Mm-hmm.
That's the illusion. That's the presentation. It's not a
Yes.
city. It's a
Mm-hmm.
company.
Company. It
Now,
is French. Mm-hmm.
now, if you, as an example, if you look at London,
Mm-hmm.
London is not a city. London is a corporation.
Corporation. Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the city of London functions as a corporation, not a city.
Mm-hmm.
The city of Edinburgh functions as a company.
Company. Mm-hmm. That is,
Not.
for me, it is very interesting
Yeah.
information.
Yeah. It's about the social structure and how things are organized in a
Mm-hmm.
hierarchical way.
Mm-hmm.
The region, the borough, functions like a company.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And if you think about how a company works,
Mm-hmm.
you have the same tiers and layers and structures. You have different departments and different functions.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm.
You have your security,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really very interesting. And you can go back further and understand that the word company
Mm-hmm.
is actually a military term for a group of men.
Yes.
So if you go back in time 100, 150 years,
Mm-hmm.
when you had a group of men who were soldiers,
Mm-hmm.
the name for the group of men who were soldiers was a company.
Yeah.
If you think about old films with soldiers, they say, "Company, halt!"
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Company.
Yeah, because a company is a group of soldiers. So a company is a military group.
Yes.
It's a military organization.
Hmm.
It's the origin is military terminology. And so much of what we think of as firms and organizations and companies is military. For example, a marketing campaign. A marketing strategy is also a marketing campaign. What is a campaign? A political campaign. What is a campaign? A campaign is when your company moves to another place to fight.
Yes.
That's what campaign is.
Campaign.
Yeah. And we now have political campaigns and marketing campaigns.
Yes.
But a campaign is when you send your army to another place to fight. That's a campaign.
Oh, sure. Interesting.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So when you have a company, the person at the top is the CEO. CEO. Right. Yeah, you know this, CEO, right? Chief Executive Officer. Chief Executive Officer, CEO. Chief Executive Officer. Now, Chief, that's military. Executive is military. And officer is military. Chief Executive Officer, CEO. So the person at the top of the company is a military person, is an officer. Just like in the army. Just like in the army, the person at the top is an officer. So, from the perspective of language, all companies are military organizations. All companies are military organizations. That is their function. That is how they serve. That is their service. And if you look at history and how companies are organized within regions or areas, or region is from regis, which means king. Yeah, so it belonged to the king. That's why we have registrar and registration, because they're regis, because it means belonging to the king or being property of the king. Every time you register, you give your information or your property to the king. That's what it means. That's what it means. Regis from registration. The word means giving to the king. So we have these regions or these boroughs which are military. And then within the boroughs we have companies which are military. Within the companies we have positions of officers which are military.
Everything is military.
Yeah. Everything. The whole of the design of the system is a militant design. Now, it's not always bad, right? It's not always bad because
Yes.
you need some kind of system.
Yes, yes. Without system, nothing works. Bez nějakého systému.
Well, without the system, systems don't work, right? Now, there's practicality, right? I mean, where do roads come from? Roads were so that you could move your army.
Yes.
All roads were initially military roads. They were built by. You go back to the Roman times, so the Romans could move their armies quickly and efficiently. Yeah. So the roads are military.
Everything.
Well, I don't know if it's everything. All I know is that there are structures and systems, and that a lot of business is very similar to war, especially with big companies. Yeah, you can't stop the big organization. You can't stop the big company. The big company says we want to buy this piece of land, and all the people have to leave. Right? So they're very powerful, and it's very difficult to fight against this. Once, and it's also neuro-linguistic within people's minds. Once upon a time in the past, we had police and policemen and policewomen. Now we have police officers. See, we're officers.
Officers, yes.
They're officers. Now, they're officers because they have an office. Yes, but they also have an office because they're officers.
Yes.
Yeah, it's it's interesting how much of the language of armies and war is in everyday language that we use. People don't stop to think about how everything is connected together, and it's everywhere. Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not important. But it is everywhere. Windows. The operating system for most computers is called Windows.
Windows, yes.
A window is so that you can see. But who is looking? Right?
We all.
Who's looking at the information? Who is looking in the window? It's a window. Just like a window in the wall of your house.
Yeah.
Your computer is just another window. It's just a digital window. You can, with a window, you can see both ways, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the linguistics is very powerful. Your computer is a PC. It's a
Personal.
computer.
Personal.
Personal.
Hmm?
Personal.
Not for me.
It's not. It's not.
Oh,
You see,
yes.
it's not personal.
No personal.
It's not personal. It's not personal at all.
Yes.
It's the data and the information is open to everybody. And there's nothing wrong. In my opinion, I don't have a problem with that. I know some people who do. I don't have a problem with that. But they call it your personal computer. But it's not really personal. A lot of people have an Android phone. But the competition for Android, what most people in Britain and America have, is the iPhone.
Yes. Right.
It's the iPhone. Someone is watching. Someone is looking at the data and the information. So the language is powerful, and so I was reading about this region and Brandenburg. What is Berg? Or Berg is borough. What is borough? What is where does that word come from? And you learn it means company. A financially taxable institution that must collect money to survive. It's really interesting.
Everything. Yes.
No, it's really interesting, and I think that everything is more. Ooh, lights are going on and off in this room. Somebody's watching me.
Yes.
Somebody's watching me. So.
But who is watching?
Yeah, I don't know. It's
Only me.
Can't imagine anybody that would want to watch me, to be honest. That's my argument for why being paranoid is crazy. It's stupid to be paranoid in the internet age, because who wants to watch you? That doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me. First of all, nobody understands the technology. Nobody has the time. Everyone's worried about themselves. Nobody cares what anyone else does. Nobody really cares what anyone else does. Nobody cares what people wear or what color their hair is. Nobody really cares. So the idea that somebody's listening to it, it doesn't make any sense to me. Although the technology is powerful, it doesn't make any sense.
We must use it.
Well, two sides. Yep. Two sides to every piece of technology has two sides. Yeah. You know it with your work, right? There's a positive effect. There's a potentially positive effect and a potentially negative effect of the technology. Use it well and you can help people. Use it wrongly and it can kill people, right?
Yes, of course.
And it's the same with all technology. Whether it's a car or a knife or I don't know, anything.
Fork.
A fork, a knife or a fork, or even a spoon, right?
A spoon, yes.
A fork is probably more dangerous than a spoon.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's interesting
Mhm.
to look at how the
Mhm.
language is
Mhm.
used and
Mhm.
where it comes from, and
Mhm. Mhm.
we never we never get the information in school. We don't get it. We 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 get government history, which is okay.
Yes. Mhm.
But it's not all of the data and all of the information. There's there's always more. Oh, this is the fear with new technology, with 5G technology,
Mm.
that already everything is very fast,
Mm. Yes.
and it will get faster and faster. Now, when we first had computers,
Mhm.
people had a fear that
Mm.
they just had a fear to use it. They were worried about it, but
Mm.
um, computers made processes faster.
Mhm.
There's a computer, you know, the your washing machine
Mm.
is a
Yes.
computer basically.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah. The fridge, you know, the
Mhm.
technology that we have that we
Yes.
use, um, and so that that's all positive.
Mhm.
It's also old technology, so
Mhm.
how what we will, as you said, what we will do with the data, I don't know. There's way
Mm.
too much data all already that
Mhm.
that is created. Um, Information overload is what it is. Information overload,
Mm.
just too much
Mm.
information that and who will do something with it? That's my argument. I think it's just too much.
Mhm.
I would I would I would be really happy if some
When?
if I would be really happy if some government was reading my information because that would mean that I'm
Mhm.
important, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I see. I don't actually think that I'm important
Mm.
at all, so it doesn't bother me that some because I would be happy. We read your info. I was like, great, you read my articles, you read my super.
Yes.
Yeah, give me some feedback. Tell me what you think,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mm.
So so it doesn't bother me at all. But there's there's a lot of things that we don't understand about how powerful all the
Our all life is that she is not enough for this more information.
yeah, that's how that's why it's amazing that
Mm.
we got this far with technology
Mm.
because um, civilization is
Mm.
with this technology very advanced,
Mm.
and
Mm.
we can see how we can see the divergent
Mhm.
path. Those who integrate technology into their life
Mm.
have a different world from those who don't. It's hard, especially as you get older, to work with
Mm. Mhm.
the information and the technologies. I'm lucky that I have the experiences that I have, and I can use the technology that I can use. But I know people from my generation that
No.
don't understand it at all.